Hello and welcome to Lone Investor. Wow, what a week. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick market update and then we're going to take a look at our stocks, the stocks from my stock pick in 2022 and see how they're doing. And I'm going to talk about if my point of view still stand firm on the stocks and the whole market environment. So let's take a look at the S&P 500 first. So in the last video, I was talking about how I am bearish on the S&P 500 in the short term, and it's due to the stock market breadth, the 200 days moving average being going down while the S&P 500 is going up. So if there's a correction, it's very likely that the S&P will hit the 200 days moving average, which we did hit that on Friday. As for the market breadth, it's about 50 at the moment, so it's about half of the stock in S&P 500 that is above and below the 200 days moving average, which if this is a big correction, I see that there's still some room to drop. We may not see it as low as when we had COVID back in March 2020, where we only have like 3% of the company that's above the 200 days moving average. But if you take a look at the past record, a good correction will put it in around the 20 to 30 area. So if we are talking about a major correction, we might still have some rooms to drop. And if we take a look at the 10 years bond yield, we're seeing some loss on momentum while the yield is going higher. So in the short term, we might see a little bit of a downtrend for the bond yield, which may ease the tech sector a little bit, but just for a short term. But if we manage to gain support either on the uptrend or the previous downtrend, then the bond yield will continue to rise and the bond market will continue to have a sell off, which will trigger a further tech sell off, which will drag down the Nasdaq and some of the stock might drag down the S&P 500. So now let's take a look at some of the stock pick. So at Home Depot, we're almost at the 200 days moving average and also the downtrend line. We saw a little bit of bump, but then it failed to go up and then it actually went red by the end of the day. And the 200-day price is at 346 and it didn't hit that yet, but even if it did, although I said I will open a position, but I might not open a position yet just because of the S&P, of what I said of the S&P breadth index, that I suspect there's still some room to drop. So maybe if it gets below the 250 days moving average or somewhere in between the long-term trend line, somewhere in between here, I might open up a position on that. And then Costco is just so strong, it didn't even hit the 200 days moving average yet, let alone the long-term support line that is way down here. As for Disney, I said the stock is at a short-term uptrend line, and then if you buy in here, you might want to average down when it touches the bottom. And for the first few days of the week, it didn't really drop that much compared to the rest of the market, but on Friday it dropped 7%. It is mainly due to Netflix who missed the earnings and then it dropped 20%, 21%, and Disney being another streaming company. But well, not all the revenue from Disney are from streaming, but a part of it is. So if Netflix not doing that well, people may expect Disney to not have a good earnings coming up. But anyways, during the first few days of the week, I did not open up a position yet because of the S&P is not at the 200 days moving average. But then on Friday, it hits the 200 days moving average and then Disney got dragged down by Netflix. And in my mind, if I buy in 150 and then average down on 130, my average would be about 140 anyways. So I saw that Disney was opening kind of low. So around this area, I just market by Disney. So my price for Disney is about 138 at the moment. And that is the only thing that I bought last week. As for the energy stock, the NI that I mentioned on last Friday, on the last video, it was at 28. And I said on last week, some of the energy stock were already priced in. So you might want to wait until it drops back down to the trend line at 125 area before you consider start a position. And throughout the week, it only dropped like $1 right now. So I didn't do anything on this one. As for trending stock for Alibaba, last week it was at 132 and I said that it might drop to 122 area before you can start considering opening up a position. Although I think that Chinese stock will outperform US stock by the end of 2022 in the short term because of the whole market sentiment. If the US stock are dropping, it might drag down the whole market even though they're Chinese stocks. And when it does settle, that's when I see the Chinese stock will outperform the US stock by the end of the year. So if you have spare money and you don't mind holding it for a year, I think Baba is pretty good price to open up a position right now. SDP ratio is only like 14. But I also mentioned the risk of Chinese stocks in the last video, the politics, where the government can just make a statement one day and you'll ban something. But if you're looking for a more for sure signal to enter, I would say wait a little bit longer, maybe a week or two until the S&P settle down. As for other Chinese stock, the EVs and the green energy, the EVs such as NIO, XPeng, NIO, and green energy like JKS, the solar panels, those stocks is the same story as Alibaba, where if you buy and hold for a year, I think you will have more of a rate of return compared to US stocks. But in the short term, they might follow the US market sentiment, where they might drop together with the US market first before to have a greater one up. I did not give a price target for those, but you can decide on your own on which price you see better fit to enter. As for crypto, one of the SPAC stocks that I mentioned, the XPDI, went through SPAC and now it's Core Scientific, CORC, ticker symbol. So the SPAC went through, but since Bitcoin was dropping like crazy since Thursday, I'll make a video on Bitcoin in the next video. It dragged down Core Scientific also. So SPAC price is around $10 as usual, and then it dropped to as low as 6.86, and after market it went up to 8.2, but it was only by a few orders, so I won't really take that as a sign of reversal. And I have my price target set at around 4.8 before I consider opening up a position on it. And for MAWA, I know I said that 28 is a good price to open a position, and we won't see it hitting the next two support unless Bitcoin is in the mid 30,000. But sadly, we are at that level, so that's why you're seeing MAWA is hitting the last two support at the moment. Again, I'll do a video on Bitcoin after this. So that's why you see MAWA is at the last two support line because of Bitcoin. And for disclosure, I have MAWA right now at around $33, I think. So I'm down quite a bit, but I'm long on Bitcoin. And if MAWA managed to broke the last support line under $20, I might add in more to average down. So the only thing I bought this week is Disney, and I'm still waiting for the rest of the stock to hit some of my targets. I know it's a risky play because of what happened to Netflix, but Disney is very close to the uptrend line since in 2017. That's why I open up a position right now, and I'll only consider averaging it down if it drops below 120. So this is it for the weekly update, and let's see what happens next week, and good luck, and I will see you guys next time.